welcome to the Knitted Bean podcast. My name is Echo and I am your host. We will see if Granny can manage to be quiet through the intro this time. She's been having a rough week. Today is Tuesday, August 16th. I'm recording a bit late because said Granny has been having a rough week and my husband has been suffering with the pandemic since at least Wednesday. You might be able to hear it in my voice. I think I'm unfortunately potentially catching it from him, so that's why I really wanted to try and go ahead and knock this out before I get fully sick. Knitted Bean is a nitty, nerdy, and sometimes sweary podcast with a side order of fandom at the end. It's just not working. You know, it's been a rough intro when you're already halfway through your tea. It is extremely windy outside, so added to that, if you can hear like wind howling, I really apologize. I haven't looked to see like what kind of wind we have, but I do know that we are under a high wind warning, and I had to retrieve my garbage can from down the street. So,
editing being here, it was pretty high. We lost some power lines.
It's high. I think it has to be above 40 miles per hour in order to get a high wind warning. It's not terribly, horribly uncommon out of the realm of possibility for us to get like wind gusts of like 60 miles an hour when we have high winds. I have no idea why we're so windy, other than that we're in the middle of basically a plain, big flat area with nothing to break it. So I woke up to howling wind this morning. Hopefully it will go away and not too many people lose too many shingles. Other than that, it's actually really not a bad day out there. It's about, I don't know, mid 40s, somewhere around single like 8, 9, 10 digits Celsius. And it's sunny, although a little scattered cloud now. It was very sunny this morning when I went to retrieve the garbage can. So a little bit of life to start us off. I mentioned Granny was having a rough week. She just woke up one morning walking like a drunken sailor and bumping into walls. And so I kind of thought maybe like she'd had like a stroke or something, but we took her to the vet and they were like, you know, that's just really uncommon in dogs. And they decided that the root cause was probably she has a loose molar that they've been aware of and we've been aware of for, I don't know, at least 6 months. And she's old, she's 13, and so they had recommended that we not have it pulled because of the risk on anesthesia. And they had just periodically been putting her on antibiotics and anti-inflammatories to keep the infection down. And they thought, you know, she's still eating good and stuff. At some point, she's going to bite down hard on something and just knock it out because it's really loose. No, of course not. So basically, the infection or whatever, in between rounds of antibiotics, the infection caused an inner ear infection, which basically gave the dog vertigo. Hence the drunken sailor walk. So they put her on, in addition to the antibiotics, they put her on a steroid because inner ear infections are hard to treat. And it took like 4 days for that to really start kicking in. She's about halfway through her antibiotics now, and she now walks like a normal dog again and seems to feel good. The downside of that is it means that we do have to have that tooth out, which means we do have to take the risk on anesthesia. So everybody keep Granny Dog in your thoughts. I'm sure she'll do fine. At least that's what I keep telling myself. But it's been a rough 4 days because it's one thing if you're human and you know what's going on with vertigo. It's another thing if you're a dog who already has bad cataracts to the point where you're practically blind in one eye and are a little bit of a princess anyway. She does not deal well with not knowing what's going on in her surroundings. So she's been getting me up a lot at night. Like, what's going on? Why am I here? Why am I falling over? So I'm very glad that she now seems to be able to navigate just fine without falling over or any problems. See, this is the problem with the clouds. I moved my light over here because it was so sunny, and then now I have a weird shadow because it's gone cloudy out there. So I apologize for like whatever weird lighting issues are gonna happen today. I can't fix them. Meaning I don't have the spoons to fix them. You get what you get today. I thought about putting on makeup to try and make myself like look more alive, and then I was like, you know, I never wear makeup. I wear makeup like twice a year on holiday when I feel like it. And I love you guys, but it's not gonna happen. So this is me, you get me. No makeup and all. And then my husband, who came home from school sick because he teaches, and took a couple days off, and he was just sicker and sicker. And so I shoved a COVID test at him, and he's negative. He just has a yucky head cold that's settled into his chest, and he's coughing all night, which kept me up, along with the dogs. I got no sleep for like 4 days, which I don't do well with. And he's very, very careful not to try and get me sick, because something like a simple cold for somebody else could put me in the hospital. So he's been trying very, very hard. But I did start coughing last night, and I thought, no, it's fine. I just ate something and I just have a tickle in my throat. But I can tell, I can hear it in my voice now, and my throat's kind of sore, and my nose is a little bit stuffy, and I just have that kind of hot, achy feeling, and I'm like, no! Because I always have that, like, is this gonna be the cold that comes and goes, or is this gonna be the cold that like lingers with me for the next 6 weeks, and I'm in and out of the ER and on multiple rounds of steroids and IV steroids. So here's hoping that I stay healthier than my dog and my husband, because that could be a real hot mess. So those are the major reasons in my life. I like have not even posted on Instagram, because my life has been a hot mess with the husband and the dog. And I only have, as you all know, a limited number of spoons, and they took them all up. So whatever like tiny spoon bit I had left, I just put it towards knitting and relaxing because I needed it. So at least I do have content to show you. I'm drinking today out of just a regular mug that I got. I think I got this at World Market like maybe 4 years ago. Because it's my favorite color. We all know that I love green, and it has, I don't know if you can see, it's so empty I can probably show you. It has green dots on the inside too. It seemed appropriate since I feel like I can't breathe today. The only downside is that the embossed lettering is only on one side, so I have to hold it like this way if I want you guys to see. Whereas normally I would right-hand it. I guess they want you to see it and be reminded to breathe, which makes sense, but I like it when things are on both sides, so. And in it is the tail end of some wild cherry green tea that I had from a shop here in town called Boston Harbor Tea, which is a regular tea shop where you can go in and just buy whatever variety of tea you want out of the jars on the wall. So it's not like there's no brand to it. I'm sure they mix it there, or they buy it from a wholesaler in China or something like that. And it's good, but that's the end of it. So I put some honey in there hoping that it would like help get me through talking. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you need to get a hold of me, I'm on Instagram and Ravelry as The Knitted Bean, or you can email me at knittedbean@gmail.com. Other than that, what have I been doing? I've watched a lot of knitting podcasts because, like I said, my spare energy has just been sitting in knitting, and when I do that, I tend to watch YouTube. There were a couple of really just ones that just really made my day. I don't know if you guys have seen Karen at a Yarn Tale, but I love her. She's so great. And she used a phrase that I really want to steal because it perfectly describes how I feel. So technically, I'm a millennial, right? I was born in 1983. I'm 38, and I feel like not a millennial. I feel like from like my husband and my friend's generation, and they all are like 40. They were all born in 1979, as they call it, the year of the alien, because that's when Alien came out. And I feel like that's the generation that I came from. That's the generation that I identify with. And when people talk about millennials and the things millennials do and the way that millennials see and think on things, I don't really identify with that. I can understand it. I can put myself in their shoes, but I don't look at that and see myself. Okay? And yet, there are one or two things that, like, from my husband and my friends that I'm like, yeah, but then there was, like, the birth of cell phones and the birth of the internet, right? Like, what age was I when Oregon Trail was played in school? And what age was I when we got AOL in school? And things like that, right? Versus them. Like, they're just 2, maybe 3 years ahead of me. And so they didn't get the internet in school until they were in high school. Whereas I got it in school when I was in junior high. And it does make a little bit of a difference. And then you talk to like a millennial and they can't fathom school without the internet. And I'm like, but I do remember school without the internet. It's like right on this line. And like, if you talk to my mother-in-law, she says, well, Echo's not from the same generation as you. She's a millennial. And I feel a little insulted because I'm like, but I am, but I'm not. And Karen from A Yarn Tale had watched a movie and she was like, oh my God, it just like really, it hit me in the childhood. She's like, because I'm a geriatric millennial. And I was like, oh, that's me. That's my generation. I'm a geriatric millennial. Yes. So now when anybody asks me what generation I am, I'm just going to say, I'm a geriatric millennial. Like, I'm the oldest millennial there is. And like the youngest from, you know, before millennial. I can't remember what they're called. I don't even know. Anyway, I flagged myself as a geriatric millennial along with Karen. So that really made my day. I managed to catch fully up on Bex Creates, which is another podcast that I really love. She also designs socks. And she has just the greatest sock designs that I love. And not very many people have bought them. So if you're interested in like cool sock designs that are not like, I mean, not that, don't get me wrong, not that Andrea Mowry's bad, because I do love Andrea Mowry's patterns, but like, if you ask somebody for like, what's a great sock design? I guarantee you like 33% of them will say, you know, Andrea Mowry's DRK everyday socks, because it is a great sock design. But on the other hand, like, I like to go find patterns from people who are not maybe as popular. And Bex Creates and the socks that she has on Ravelry, they are like that. She has a set from a couple different TV shows and just some different designs. And outside of that, and I just really like them. Some of them are lacy, some of them are textured, and I love so many of them. Like, I was watching and she was like, oh yeah, I took a little bit of this like flame pattern that I used before, and I went back and I looked and I found that. I was like, I like that one too. So if you want some cool sock designs, go check out Bex Creates podcast and then check out her Ravelry store. You will not be disappointed. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit because I'm sick and I keep losing my train of thought. But anyway, that's what I think I've got for life. Nothing else crazy interesting. So a little bit of admin. We have about a month left on the Head, Shoulders, Fingers, Toes Make Along 2021. It's going great. I'm seeing some really cool pictures on both Instagram and on Ravelry. So I was a little at first like, oh, do I want to run it on both places? You know, like, will one get more hits than the other? But really, it's been about 50-50. I would say I'm getting as many entries on Instagram as I am on Ravelry, and they're different people. I think that in the future I probably will run make-alongs on both because I do like to be inclusive, and I know that Ravelry is not necessarily inclusive, but then I also feel like doing it Instagram only is exclusive of those people who just Instagram's not their thing, and so I'd like to offer it to both. I can go on Ravelry so I can run it on there, and that works for me. And so I'm excited to see them all. Somebody did ask if cowls were acceptable. Of course they're acceptable. They go on your shoulders, around your neck, on your shoulders. They sit on your shoulders. They're acceptable. They're an accessory. Easy peasy. I'm just really stoked to see all these things coming in, and I can't wait to see some more and then pick some prizes. It's gonna be wonderful. And then, of course, I wanted to remind you all that we do have a discount code on Knotty Knitting Sacks from Katie. That's the maker of my gamer bag. And then also my fucking bunnies bag that you haven't seen in a little bit because I don't have a project that size right now and I'm really in love with my gamer bag. So that is Bean15. I will put it down at the bottom here. Please run over to Katie's website. She's on Etsy as Knotty Knitting Sacks. Great knitting sacks. Also little yarn condoms to hold your cakes together if you like that kind of thing. Sometimes she's got masks on there and a couple other different things. So just check her out. She's awesome. Follow her on Instagram too because she's got some hilarious tags. She lives in a town with a rather entertaining name. It goes along the theme. We'll leave it at that. Go check her out on Instagram to find out. I think I'm gonna have to move my light because I have clearly lost the light from outside and now I have a stark shadow. All right, I warned you that there was gonna be lighting issues today because clouds, they're just not favorable to recording. Okay, so into the knitting. I might have to make a second cup of tea. Wonder if Granny will sleep through it. It's gonna happen. I'll be right back. Okay. If I make a second cup of tea, I really meant go pour the rest of the pot in here. And thankfully Granny did sleep through it. So we'll see if we can get this done before my light dies. Okay, so to get rolling, I have one FO. I have the Twisty Boys. So these are an all-over cabled pattern by Nicholas Heed that I made for a fandom friend on a big fandom server that I'm on. And they are in this really cool yarn that I wish I could get more of. I think it was called Cupcake Confetti or something. I don't know. Basically, it's a I think it was confetti tweed. It's a rainbow tweed base, basically. And then when you dye the yarn, the tweed bits stay undyed in the multiple colors that they're in. So I paired that. That was from Murray Wool Company and is unfortunately no longer available. They haven't had it on their website in quite a while. I got it maybe a year ago. With a rainbow colored multi-striped of unknown origin, deep stash, 5-ish years old. And I really like the way how on like the heels, because it's a fish lips kiss heel, it came up almost tie-dye looking. And I wish that my toes had done the same, but they're just, the construction is different on the toes. You're going around and around, and on the heel you're short rowing. But overall I love them. They are so disgustingly soft, you guys. Love it. I thought I was going to use up all of the rainbow tweed because I also put some of this in my charsi. But I didn't. I still have maybe 20 grams left. It's hard to judge because I haven't rewound it, but if it's more than 20 grams, it's not much. It's maybe like 25 grams. It wouldn't even surprise me if it was a little under. So, those are the Twisty Boys. The one thing that I did do is the pattern only gave one chart for the cables. And so on both socks, the cables would have gone the same way. And I did choose to mirror the cables on one sock and send them the other direction. So that's all I got for those. I really like them. I'm gonna make one more gift item for that person, and then I will get those out in the mail. I don't know that I will show the other gift item on here before I mail them out because it won't take me very long to make. So what I might do is take a picture for next podcast because they want some fingerless mitts in the theme of Stecky, Steve and Bucky. And fingerless mitts take me like 1 to 2 days max to knit, so I don't know that I want to wait another 2 weeks before mailing them out because it's cold where they're at. And you want them to put their little tootsies in here. So that's my 1FO. That's all I got, guys. But I did do a lot of other knitting. So in my beautiful, oops, backwards, because I want to show you. I've never talked about this. This is a little tulip pin that I got in Amsterdam. And I apologize because I just covered my mouth while I was talking. But this is my beautiful sister bag that I won from Farmer's Daughter Fibers, which I love. And inside of it is what I'm lovingly referring to as the husband socks. So these have a Mothie and the Squid cinnabar toe. That's a little brighter than it should be. It's really more like that. Which is a black, a red with a black speckle, heavy speckle. Which I don't see on her website anymore, but she has lots of other cool stuff, or they have lots of other cool stuff. And the black with the gray speckle is Sheepyshire Moonless Night. So this is just a really basic sock. I put in a little extra gusset by the Fish Lips Kiss heel because he's got chonky ankles. And I'm doing a 3x1 rib all the way up because these are going to be work socks for him. So, like I said, I don't think Mothie and the Squid has this exact color still because I got it a year and a half ago maybe. But they have a lot of really, really cool colors, and I have other stuff from them hanging in my stash. I bought a bunch of minis from them one time, and I was absolutely not disappointed at all. So those are going to be Christmas gifts for him. He doesn't watch the podcast. At most, he might listen to it while he's playing video games. So I'm not concerned about him seeing them because he requested socks. And he's seen the yarn that they're going to be made out of. He just doesn't know what they're going to look like. Then, in my Sweet Comfort Designs bag that I won from Grizzly Knits giveaway, I have set aside the stuff that I'm going to make the Stucky Mitts out of, some of which you saw last time and some of which you have not seen. I haven't cast them on yet because I've been a little obsessed with my next project that you'll see, but I do want to show you because I just think the way they all play together is really cool. That red's coming out a little bright. It's definitely not that bright in real life, but they are going to be amazing. I did get a kick out of the fact that the blue chosen for Steve, Captain America, is called Honorable Blue. So I am hoping to cast those on maybe in the next day or two. I have a point that I want to hit on my other project, and then I want to pause, cast these on and knit them real quick because like I said, they'll take me a day or two, and then go back to my other project. I am not using a pattern to make these per se. They showed me some pictures of ones that they liked, and then they took some pictures of their hands for me so that I could see like the size, and then they measured so I could see like the shape of their hands and like the length of their fingers and stuff, and then they measured around and length for me and were like, you know, basically here's how my hand's shaped. And then I'll put it together. I'll be like some 2x2 ribbing here, a gusset with a thumb this long here, some I mean, I just feel like that's something you can self-design really easy. My last, but definitely not least whip is the Prionic pullover that I've been talking about for quite a while, wanting to start, which I stuffed in my knotting knitting sacks, even though it might have been, yeah, there's more room in there than it needs, but that's okay. This is my gamer bag, which has appropriately gamer mermaids on the inside and Tron-like connections on the out. So I did not put it on a bigger needle because I'm lazy, you guys. I told you I don't feel good today. So you don't get to see it all stretched out because I'm a big girl and I knit big sweaters. But you can kind of get an idea, hopefully, even though it's scrunched up. So it goes like this, basically. And that color right about there is accurate. So this is a raglan pullover V-neck with, it has worked in elbow patches, faux elbow patches, but I actually bought some elbow patches in the Netherlands that I'm going to use that are faux leather. I think color-wise, they will go perfectly. These are a little more brown, and this is a little more red. Like if you get way up close, you can see the difference. Maybe. It's really hard to capture the brown in this, but I think it's gonna work awesome. So those will go on the elbows. And then it's a DK weight, but I'm knitting it in a sport weight with a size up on the needles. So it's supposed to be on a size 6 needle in a DK weight, and I'm knitting it on a size 7 needle in a sport weight, but I have perfect gauge after blocking. So I had this is my blocked swatch, and it's a nice thick, I shouldn't say thick, it's not heavy, but like it's not see-through either. Like if you stretched it out, sure, but I'd have to be working at it. And I've checked my gauge on the sweater as I'm knitting it, and it's gonna be good. Like if it'll block too, because I didn't stretch that much on that, and it's pretty close on this. The yarn itself, and the reason that it doesn't stretch much, is a recycled tweed. It's Queensland recycled tweed. And it's made of 40% recycled wool, 40% recycled polyester, and 40% recycled acrylic. And so the fact that 60% of it is not wool is why when I block it, it floofs like wool, but it doesn't stretch like wool. So I got 20 stitches per inch on that, and I have like 19 and maybe 3/4, 19 and a half stitches per inch on the garment, and that's about what I had on that before I blocked it. So I think it will block out just perfectly. Only thing that I will say, because this yarn does have a little bit less stretch than a traditional wool has, is that I think, so there's a slip stitch pattern on the raglans, and I think it does try to pucker there because it doesn't want to slip, like it doesn't want to, that doesn't want to stretch as well. I think there'll be enough that I can block it out and it'll be fine. But if I was knitting it in anything less stretchy, that could be a problem. The other problem that I have, and I don't know, because this is the first ball, I don't know if this is just a problem with this particular ball or if this is a thing with this yarn, because it's a newer yarn that they just put out this year, and I couldn't find any reviews of it on Ravelry. I know I was the first person to buy a sweater quantity of it from my local yarn shop, is that it has a ton of places where the yarn is joined in it. I am not quite done with that ball, and I think I've run into 3 or 4 where it's end of the yarn and then tied, end of the yarn and then tied. And on a sweater, that's a bit annoying because I have to make sure to tuck those knots to the wrong side, and then later on I'm going to have to go back through and make sure to tack those to that side so they aren't popping out. I had just laid it over my shoulder and there was one just sticking out. And I understand that it's a recycled yarn, but it's a cohesive recycle. Like you've taken those fibers, mixed them together, like recycled them, and then mixed them together into a yarn. So I wouldn't think that it should be in short strands then tied together. It's not like you're taking an old yarn, clipping what's good of it and tying it to another piece that's good. You know, it's not like I've recycled a yarn out of a sweater. Do you know what I mean? So I do find that really annoying. Other than that, I mean, the price point on this was great. It was only $12.50 for a 100-gram ball, and it's technically, I would call it a sport DK. It's got 382 yards and 100 grams, but it is very light, and so I think you get more yardage than a typical DK, and I'm definitely able to knit it at a DK gauge. The gauge for it is 21 to 24 stitches, so I'm knitting it a little looser than what it calls for, but it's working just fine. So I think it could go either way easily. So that's the Prionic pullover. And that was by Sweater Freak. And you can get their patterns both on Ravelry, and they have their own website, like a complete own website where you can get all of their patterns if going on Ravelry isn't an option for you, which is nice. Anything else cool about that pattern? Oh, I'm knitting the size 8 if anybody is curious. That's like, I think I had a 55-inch bust. I did want a little bit of ease, and that's just because that's the way the sweater is meant to be knit. So that's what I got. I have about 10 raglans left before I join, so I'm more than halfway there. And once I join those, I think is when I will do those mitts. I'm really rambly today, you guys. I'm sorry. And Lugs has decided to join us too. Does everybody want to see Lugs? Oh, Lugs wants to see you guys. Okay, hang on. Oh. Say hi. She was going and looking out the window, weren't you? She was watching out the big window, looking for birds. Yeah, favorite activity. Watching birds and dogs and people go by. We have a lot of windows in the front, so she gets a full view of the street at all times. She thinks she's a little guard dog. Hi. Huh. Oh, you good girl? You a good girl? Such a pretty girl. Do you want to go sit on the bed with Granny? Okay, there you go. I would love to say that she's like loving up on Granny and like playing doctor, but she's not. She's a little bit like, how come Granny's getting all the attention? I need some love too. So, okay, we love you too. All right, on to the last bit, which is acquisitions. Which I've been good. I haven't bought anything. It's not on the budget right now. And like I said, it's been 2 weeks and bleh. I haven't even had like an interest in looking for things. But I did get mail from somebody. Try not to crinkle. I got this pretty package from Raquel. And inside of it, there was a pretty mushroom, which I think I've mentioned on here before, but I really like mushrooms. So that was awesome. And we'll definitely be finding a place amongst my things. And there was a cool pin. This pin glows in the dark, you guys, which is awesome. And then a couple of stickers, which will absolutely and totally go on my scooter because I love covering my scooter in stickers. So thank you, Raquel. I totally love those. We'll greatly enjoy them. And the mushroom really made me smile because I love mushrooms. I love to eat mushrooms. I like to look at mushrooms. I like to take pictures of mushrooms. I don't know why. I'm just really into fungi. They're cool. They're like a whole different little life form. Uh-oh, Granny's awake now. You want to come say hi, Granny? Everybody want to see Granny? Come here. This is little Miss Sicky. It's just not, woo! Show him those teeth. Not quite up to it, huh? See her head wobbling? She's a little bit of vertigo still. A little bit. Still a little bit. It's okay. We're gonna get that infection cleared up and then we'll go get that tooth out. You'll do fine. I think the dogs are informing me I better wrap it up. So that's it. That's all I have for knitting and life content. If that's all you're here for, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know this one was probably not the greatest one I've ever done. Hopefully in 2 weeks I will feel better and not worse. But it is what it is. I endeavor to always bring you the real Echo and not makeup, lights, camera, action. So I have been delivered a toy. Remember the frog from last time? It's still in here and Legs just brought it to me. So like I said, if that's all you're here for, I thank you for your time and I appreciate you being here. I've noticed that there are a few ones of you who are new and I always appreciate those of you who come back again and again. I love seeing your comments. Feel free to drop a comment below. If you're new and you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, go back and check out my tiny short back catalog. Lugs is about to rock the tripod. And if you're here for some fandom, hang around and we will go over that. For fandom, what I wanted to cover was Arcane League of Legends, which is on Netflix. I decided to binge that for as many episodes as are up, which when I watched was 5, I think. Mainly based off of the art style. I'm not usually into animated series, but once in a while I will be drawn into one, typically because the art style looks really good or because someone recommends it to me based on the story. And in this case, the art style just looked really cool. I liked the like almost watercolor style of the animation. So I went on the fanfiction server and I was like, hey, everybody who's really into League of Legends, like, have you watched this? Is it good? And they were like, yes, it's great. And I was like, okay, can I watch this fandom blind? Because I've never played League of Legends. I don't even know what League of Legends is. And I'm not gonna, I know it's big, so I'm not gonna like try and go learn everything that I would need to learn to know everything if I need the entire backstory to watch it. And they were like, nope, it's good. You can watch it totally fandom blind. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a go. So I did, and it was great so far. I have a few niggling complaints about it, of course, because I can always find a way to conquer something. But I really loved a lot of things about it. It gives me some really strong Dishonored vibes, both in story and in music selection and opening sequence vibes. So I like that because I like the Dishonored video games. And I like some of the voice actors that they've chosen and things like that. So I watched it and I definitely like got some distinct hints of shippiness from some of the characters, specifically probably my dog, I swear. Specifically probably Vance? God, I can't remember the guy's name right now. And his workshop partner, Victor. Those two kind of give me a little bit of shippy vibes. And Vi and Caitlin really give me shippy vibes, big time. So I went and I searched for some fan fiction. There is quite a bit, 20 pages on AO3. So for something that's fairly new coming out, that's not just League of Legends fan fiction, that's actually like just for Arcane. And that wasn't, like, I wasn't filtering by anything specific metrics wise, like rating or pairing or anything like that. But still, for something that just came out, I feel like that's pretty good. So I did find a fic that I thought you guys might enjoy. It is called A Rifle, a Bullet, and a Cupcake, and it is by Dream Pop. It's short, under 2,000 words. It's rated G. It is in the female ship category because it's certainly clear that there is a relationship between Vi and Caitlin in the story, whether they've acted on it yet or not, but there is absolutely no sexual content to it at all. You almost got knocked over by a dog. Quit. Lex has a terrible habit of hurting other things, people, and animals with her butt like a sheepdog. She almost knocked Granny into the tripod. Attention whore. Attention whore. Anyway, as I was saying, a rifle, a bullet, and a cupcake. It's good, it's cute, it's short, and it's just, you know, it's about a date. Whether or not they call it a date, it's definitely about a date. So I would recommend going and reading that. I will drop the link for that below, along with all the other links to everything else, like I always do. Anyway, because this one is dying to play. Just dying. Absolutely desperate. I'm gonna let you go and try to spend a little bit of energy on her before I crash. You tell them goodbye. Say bye-bye. Hello everyone, my name is Echo and I am your host of try that again. And I am the host of the Knitted Bean Grandma. Take 5.